Hello, everyone. I am sure that you've all seen our resident healer, Valerie, but today we have the woman who brought our healer to life. Not only does she heal in Resident Evil, but she's also been on such TV shows as Two Broke Girls, Gilmore Girls, The West Wing, and The OC, as well as feature films. And her voice can be heard on multiple animated TV series. The short film she stars in, Boy Eats Girl, a zombie love story, which is really good, by the way, is a festival darling, winning multiple awards. Alexandra Ryan. Everyone clap.
Hello,
Woo!
everybody. Oh, thank you so much. Thank
All right.
you.
So, so for our first question,
Yeah,
have you ever heard of the Resident Evil series before? If so, what do you think of the series?
I'd heard definitely. I mean, Resident Evil is like everywhere, right? I would be living under a rock if I hadn't
Mhm.
heard of it. So, no offense to people living under rocks, by the way. Do what you got to do. I definitely heard of Resident Evil. I hadn't, to be quite honest, I hadn't heard of Resistance, and I'm actually kind of grateful for that because I think Resident Evil is such a big franchise
Mm-hmm.
that going into the process blind, you know what I mean, without
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
any like, oh, this is what you're doing, was kind of helpful for me to create the character without feeling any pressure. So, but I love it.
Yeah,
It's so much fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yeah.
characters are so three-dimensional. I'm always so impressed with a game that has like such depth to their characters.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I got it. So, uh, geez, first time interview. Okay,
You're
so
doing
that's
great,
yeah,
John. Yay,
yeah.
John! He's doing great,
Uh,
everybody.
so on to the next question. Were you aware how big of a franchise Resident Evil is? Did you know that it sold over $3.5 billion?
I was aware it was big. I was definitely not aware it was that big. I mean,
Hmm.
that's a lot of dough.
Yeah, it's one of the
Um,
best-selling video game franchises.
right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I knew it was, I mean, the fact that I know about it and had heard about it and all my friends knew about it, like I knew how big it was, but I definitely didn't know.
Hmm.
I don't know if I know like that level of monetary investment in terms of gaming industry. Like I know games, but I don't know. So that was interesting. And like I said, I'm kind of grateful to not have had that much pressure because when you go and you audition, you kind of want the freedom. I mean, it's fine to audition for anyone on camera voiceover. I've auditioned at every level, but it's sort of nice when you're behind the mic to like have the freedom of ignorance a little bit.
Hmm. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. You don't want the like whenever you feel everything pushing down on you, it
Yeah,
becomes
there's a lot of extra
it
weight.
becomes harder to perform. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly right. And we do, right? Because that's my
Hmm.
job. I perform at
Yes.
every level, but I think finding Valerie, like I find any other character, I think that there was a freedom to that because I didn't look at
Hmm.
what had come before.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yep, I got you. So on to the next question. Have you ever played this game series? If so, which game is your favorite, and have you played Resistance specifically?
I have to be quite honest with you. Resistance came out right at the beginning of all of the new normal crazy. And so I
Hmm.
had to scramble because we were getting a lot of projects up and running right at the top. So I have not played Resistance. Um, I know, not yet. Let me clarify. I have not played Resistance yet. I'll be curious to play Resistance because I don't know if I would want to play myself. That feels a little meta, right? Like
Yeah.
yourself being yourself,
Yeah.
like maybe a little. Um, but so yeah, but the Resistance games, the Resistant Evil franchise is amazing.
Hmm.
It's so much fun.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I gotcha. I gotcha. But have you played any of the other games, like Resident Evil 1 or 2 or 4 or anything?
I think I played Resident Evil 1 back in the day. I didn't play Resident Evil 2. I
Okay,
didn't.
You didn't play Resident Evil 2? All right.
No. Did you
Like just
enjoy
gonna
Resident Evil 2?
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Okay.
Resident Evil 4 is the best one. I've played it
Okay.
like over 10 times. I mean, I've done like a pistol knife only run. It's amazing. I love it. Um,
How did you
And
do with the pistol knife only run?
pistol knife only run. Essentially, I had to like cheese various parts of the game.
Oh,
Like there's this one boss that's super scary, and you're like, oh my god, like the first time.
right.
But then after that, you just like on my like 15th playthrough. Yes, Resident Evil 4 is what got me into the series.
Nice. So did you go backwards then? Did you
Yes,
start
yes,
with
yes,
four?
yes.
Okay.
Because I went backwards, and none of them played like 4, because 4 was like the evolution of a franchise until they got, and that kind of carried it until 7, and 7 was like a new evolution, whatever. But then I went
Right.
back, and I really didn't like the games at first, because they were so different. But I kind of grew to love them, I guess, through Stockholm syndrome or something. But
Nice. Stockholm syndrome. That's useful. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Good job.
but I love every game in the series except for maybe some of the like some of the really bad spin-offs, like Survivor.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
let's not say we did.
We'll
Uh,
just not. We'll just
yeah,
not.
yeah, let's just not. But I will say, if you ever have to play any of the games,
Yes.
I would highly recommend Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
Highly recommend Resident Evil 2, the original or the remake, and Resistance. Like some people don't like it because it kind of was bundled with Resident Evil 3, and that
Mm-hmm.
game. I'm sure you might have heard that game got a kind of a bad rep. And I
Yeah.
say Resistance is great. It's really great, but if you separate it from Resident Evil 3, it is a really fun game. Like Resident Evil 3, I have like 44 hours. Resistance 320. Okay, I'm just saying I can't stop. I can't stop.
That's awesome. Well, maybe during Christmas break this year, I'll actually have a break from everything long enough and I'll get to
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and you get to
really get
try it
into the
out. Yeah,
franchise,
yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah, And again, if you have any trouble with the starting games, and you might because they're really old, start at like 4, then 5,
Okay.
then 6, and then like 7, because like the originals have their own type of gameplay, 4 and up have their own gameplay, and then starting with like 7, they go like first person. So like I'd say if you don't like a game in the series, there's more than one to choose from gameplay wise. So
Cool.
if it's one's like it, the whole series is not like it. Oh man, I feel like I'm talking so much. Okay, so on to the next question. Who is your favorite character besides Valerie? But then again, if you've only played like one game back in there in
Well,
the
no,
PlayStation.
I know the characters, but I'll be honest with you, I also know the actors who voice most of the characters on the game.
What? You
So
are
like
so
I can't
lucky.
really so I don't really feel totally comfortable having a favorites. I will say January's a badass.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. I
she's
love
a
January. I
total
love
badass.
everyone in Resistance.
Yeah.
I'll be real with
They're
you.
all, well, that's because, as I said earlier, like the writers did an amazing job. They're
Hmm.
all such well rounded, unique
Hmm.
characters with
Hmm.
such a strong point of view. And as an actor, like that's what I'm looking for in any part, right? I want to know that, like, I mean, let's be honest, I'm going to bring my own take to
Hmm.
any role, but how much easier is my life made if I can just read the script and immediately go, oh, I got this girl. Like I
Yeah.
know who she is and she's so specific and she's so different from anybody else. And that's the jobs that I've really, really loved. They come armed with that and the writers come ready to play. So like when you're doing Two Broke Girls or like any of the on-camera TV shows or films, you get to play with these people. So it starts with creativity and then it ends with a collaboration, which is really fun.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna throw it out there. My favorite character
Yeah.
is specifically the Resident Evil 4 version of Leon, because
Okay.
he's like kind of cool but kind of a dork. Like at one point you just survive like a giant wave of these like not zombies but not people, and
Uh-huh.
he's like my one of my favorite lines. Where's everyone going? Bingo. Yeah, and it's like it's so cheesy and awful. Like the
But
whole
it's so fun.
game,
Yeah.
I could just quote every single line of his, and they're all so
Well,
bad.
there are a lot of them, and we don't
Yeah,
have that kind of time.
yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, so next question: what was the hiring process like? How did you get picked for Valerie?
right. So, the initial process, I get an audition from my reps, and take some time, read through the script. Like I said with Valerie, she was pretty easy. Like I felt like I knew this girl right away and I knew kind of how I wanted her voice to be. Sometimes if it's trickier, if there's a picture versus not a picture, it's a little bit different because sometimes with a picture, I can just kind of infuse exactly what I feel about the character. If there's not a picture, I'll go off of like the descriptions that they've told me, but then also what she says,
Hmm.
because what she says is also what she doesn't say, and what she says is like, you look at Valerie and you know immediately this girl is so smart,
Hmm.
right? But
Yeah.
she's so book smart. Like when she's in her lab, she can do everything. And when you ask her to go to a party, she puts her foot in it within like 5 seconds. I mean, who says their bite is worse than their bark? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just who she is. And so knowing those lines, that's what
Yeah.
happened. And coincidentally, I'd actually worked with the director before Jamie Mortellaro. I had a mocap callback with him. Um, you guys know what mocap is? Should I say what
Yes, yes,
mocap
yes, yes.
is?
We
Okay.
yeah, motion capture. Yeah.
Okay. So I figured this community would know what mocap was, but you never know. Um, but so I got to do some real acting with him before this, and I can't say what happened in the room
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah. Like I
reasons
totally.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I just got a call saying,
So
me.
you basically auditioned, and then they're like, "Yeah, you got the part," and that was about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
So
okay.
sometimes you go through a callback process.
Hmm.
That's true for voiceover, that's true for on camera. Um, I'd say for voiceover, it's probably like 50-50, depending on
Hmm.
what the project is. For on camera, it's more like 80-20, 90-10.
All right.
But yeah, but for this particular one, it was literally like, you did it, you got it, boom, let's go, kind of,
Hey, hey, hey! I love it. I love it. Okay, easy peasy. So,
Totally.
so I read in your message that you adore Valerie. What do you
Yeah.
like about her?
She's so like me and so not like me in many, many ways. She and I both love humans. I think I'm probably a little better at interacting with humans than Valerie is. But like that's one of the things I love about her. Do you know what I mean? She's so fallible for somebody who's a scientist. She pretty much wears her heart on her sleeve. Like
Hmm.
what you see is what you get. She's totally guileless. She's always trying,
Hmm.
and sometimes failing, but always trying.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, she has such a big heart for somebody that you might expect to be, heart grown in a lab kind of
Hmm.
person. So
Yeah. Like I think the thing that sums her up best is whenever like the mastermind is doing something like bad, she's like, "You're a bad person." I'm like,
right, like
I'm
you're
like
like,
thumbs up.
duh.
I'm like thumbs
Thanks for
up.
that. Thanks so
Oh, but
much.
okay. So next question: did you help with any of the lines? Like, did you change any of them, or was it entirely by the book? Was there any motion capture involved in this
There
performance?
was no motion capture involved with this particular project. Um, I I wouldn't say I was involved in the lines because like I said, the writers are already
Hmm.
amazing. They're already putting so much of Valerie in. I think it was a while ago that we recorded
Yes.
it,
Yes.
but I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think there were probably one or two times that Jamie was like, okay, maybe like if you have a button on this, that would be great. Or like, let's play with this line. But it was never like, improvise a scene of,
Yeah. Okay.
like the lines are too good. Like,
Yeah, the
why
lines
would
are
I mess with
fantastic.
that?
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So, you mentioned meeting January or knowing January, but the next question is, did you
No,
meet?
January is one of the few actors I didn't meet. So
Okay.
I don't want to misquote.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
said
Okay.
she's
Okay.
a
Because you just said
badass.
she was bad at. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because the next question is, did you meet any of the other actors in the game,
Not
or
in
was it
this
all by
project.
yourself?
Yeah, so this project was totally solo. It was me, the director, and the engineer outside the booth. I was in the booth.
Hmm.
Um, and for some animation projects, you get to do like the group setting,
Hmm.
but most video games that I've recorded are solo. It's
Okay.
just easier
Hmm.
to like get those characters lines out, which is a different form of acting, right? It's a
Hmm.
different form of
Yes.
acting if
Yes.
I'm imagining what you're going to do. And sometimes as a result of that, we would do a line maybe two different ways just so that the intersection between the characters was accurate,
Hmm. I
depending
gotcha.
on if they had recorded me like before Martin or after Martin, right? That
Hmm.
that they knew how he was reacting to this, so they wanted me to do it this way.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Makes
So
sense.
yeah, so we'd have a few different times, but no, it was totally solo.
Yeah, because most of the time I hear about like game stuff. Most of the time I hear that's like in a booth by yourself, but occasionally if they
Yeah.
really want like good chemistry, like really good chemistry, they'll try to get people together. But
That's
uh,
also acting, dude.
yeah,
Like, I mean, I
and
don't
that's
know if you
I
want
was
to be
gonna say,
called dude. I just called you
yeah,
dude.
yeah, it's fine, it's fine. I love it. I call everyone dudes, so it's good, it's good. You know.
But yeah, I mean, that's our job, right? We need to have chemistry with the people we're working with on screen, off screen. But also, if you think about like on camera work, right? Like, if I have my close up, every once in a while, or 50% of the time, or depending on the project, the person across from you is not going to be there. And you're going to be talking to the guy holding the boom. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yes, I agree with you about the chemistry, and it's super important. But we also have to be able to do it in a vacuum.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
that's why I have big respect because you guys pretty much have to come up with everything by yourselves, so
Yeah.
thumbs up
And
there.
I love it when I get to work with other people. It's my favorite thing on the planet, but I want to be able to do my job regardless. So,
All right. So, how many recording sessions have you had? Have they called you back to do any more lines in at any point?
oh, for Resident Evil Resistance. No, it was for this particular time. I mean, come on, John. I'm a one take wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one
Like, we
take.
had
Yeah, I
many
mean it
more
makes sense. Makes
sessions.
sense. Yeah.
No, we just had the one session for this
Just the one
particular
session.
project. We just
Okay.
had the one session.
Okay,
Yeah.
because the game's been getting updates, and some people were like, "Oh, I think there's new lines in the game," and I'm like, I don't know. Like I've been playing for a while, and I think I know if there's any new ones.
I have yet to add a line to that game. That's all I'll say. I don't know
Okay.
anything about the rest of it, but I have yet to add a line to that game. So.
All right. So number 10, what is your personal favorite line that you spoke in the game?
Oh, that's such a hard question, John. She's so good. I love all her lines.
Yeah, as you know,
Um, yes. Yeah, yes, you had written me a couple of yours,
yeah,
right?
my, yeah,
Yes.
my,
Yeah.
yep.
I would say, let's see. I just love when Valerie puts her foot in her mouth. I just do. So
Hmm.
like I think I mentioned earlier, bite is worse than your bark. Um, there were a few others. The bullet line. I think people have fun with the bullet
Yeah.
line.
Hmm.
She's just such a fun character. I feel like all her reactions just bring me joy. So it's really hard for me to
Hmm.
pick.
Oh, and great job speaking French, I think, in the game. That
Oh.
one is like a community favorite. Allons-y, à la nous, à de la, and she's
Well,
like,
the
that
best
just
part
beats.
was speaking. So I used to be fluent in French. I
Hmm.
am not anymore because I don't ever speak it. And so my choice for her was to not be able to do the accent. And so
Yeah,
that was super fun for me to be
yeah.
like, I can do a French accent. The first thing I ever booked actually for voiceover was a French foreign exchange student for Mellow Yellow
Hmm.
radio spot.
I have no idea what that is, but continue.
Doesn't matter. It's like it's a soda in Florida from like 1,000. I think I was 17 when I did the thing. Um, and I don't remember how old I was. And yeah, so it was a French foreign exchange student. So then to come do Valerie and to be like, Nous allons, like to not super fun. Super fun.
All right, all right, all right. On to the next question. How did you get into doing acting and voicing work like this? Did you always enjoy doing it?
Yes, is the short answer to that very last question. I knew I wanted to act when I was 5 years old. I
Yeah.
went to my first play and was like, this is it. Like, I'm done. I know
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I want to do. Um, Voiceover, my mom said that I talked in incomprehensible languages when I was like 10 months old. Like
Yeah.
she would have conversations back and
Mm-hmm.
forth with me, both when I was awake and asleep, by the way. So that's a talent for her and for me, I guess. But then when I was in New York and I was with an agency, they sort of off the cuff sent me on this voiceover audition, the soda one that I was telling you about. And I booked it. And so then I got into voices, which I've always loved doing. I've always been, sometimes to my detriment, a mimicker,
Mm-hmm.
of people and animals. Um, and so it just is such a fun outlet. But acting like on stage, on screen that's always been the love of my life. So
I got you. I got you. Next question. What are some of the other roles that you have done, for the people listening?
Yeah,
Anything you are super proud of?
I gotta be honest, John. I'm pretty friggin' proud of
Yeah,
everything
that's
that
I
I've
pretty much
done.
knew you'd say that, but I just if there's
I mean,
anything
it's
in
fun.
particular. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Two Broke Girls was so fun.
hmm
So fun. And
Actually, I tried looking up your scene in that, like on YouTube or just looking around, and I could not find like
so
the
she's a I think it should be on my website. Like the blip should be on my
the
website,
blip.
which is
Okay, okay, okay.
alexryanentertainment.com in case
hmm
anybody wants to go. Um, but she was an agoraphobe who was like the sister of the guy that one of the leads was dating. And so she just was like, just no nonsense, always screaming, always calling it like it is. And it was just super fun to
hmm
play. And everybody on that show was so much fun to play with.
hmm
Um, loved working on West Wing. That was like a dream of mine. I can't wait to work with Sorkin. That will be the next dream of mine.
hmm
And Boy Eats Girl was like
Phenomenal.
so much fun.
That
So
was
much fun.
hilarious. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so glad you got to see it.
hmm
Yeah, that was a ton of fun, and that was really fun because it was going to be. There are no lines for people who haven't seen it. There's just a lot of growling because
Yeah,
there's
that's what zombies do.
that's what zombies do. And initially, they were going to subtitle it, and they decided that they loved the relationship so much that they are no longer subtitling it. And I will say, while we're on the subject, it's going to be at CineQuest, which, because we're in the world we're in, anybody can buy a ticket to CineQuest and watch online. And I think I'm being interviewed for that on October 8th.
hmm
So it's very exciting for anybody who likes horror and romantic comedy.
hmm
That's where we are.
So I'm just gonna throw it out there for the people listening to this interview. Boy Eats Girls, really good, and I'm probably, even though I've seen it, I'm probably gonna buy a ticket to CineQuest just so I can support the people there and and Alexandra because she's amazing.
Thank you.
So, next question. Does it ever feel weird listening to yourself when you watch or play something that you've been in? You kind of mentioned it earlier, but
Yeah, I mean, does it feel weird for you right now on this Zoom call to like be,
when
you
yeah, like I'm
know
like
what I
seeing
mean?
myself, yeah,
Yeah,
and sometimes I listen to a recording, it's kind of weird, but some people say it's not. But I was just wondering, in your case, like,
I
would you
don't
find
think
it?
I don't think it will ever not be weird. I think that in this new day and age where a lot of stuff is on tape and I have to look at myself and judge myself a lot, prior to the work, I've had to kind of grow that muscle a little bit.
hmm
But yeah, I mean, there have been a couple characters that are so off me that I'm like, oh, that's super fun to listen to. But for the most part, like, nobody really wants to hang out in a room and listen to or watch themselves, or I don't have any friends who do that. So it's in the doing that I get most of the joy.
hmm I got you. I got you. So, because I can't imagine listening to myself. Sometimes I hear myself on tape and I'm like, oh, geez, do I sound like that? All right. And the final question, and it's my
Yeah.
favorite one.
Oh my God.
Is it I could care less or I couldn't care less?
So I think John might be referring to the web series that I did,
Yes,
possibly,
absolutely.
um, called Second Thoughts, or Why My Inner Voice is an Asshole.
Yes.
And forgive me, bleep me if you need to. It is abso-friggin-lutely, I couldn't care less, because if you could care less, you would care less, which means you
Right?
care.
So, anyways, thank you for your time. I
Thank you,
appreciate
John.
it very much,
You're
Alexandra.
very welcome. You're
All
very
right.
welcome. Have a nice rest of your
All right.
day.
You do the same.